And here he is, everybody, the next mayor of Toronto, Chris Sky. All right, Chris, looking good as always, brother. Talk to us. What's going on in Toronto?
Well, if you guys saw, as I predicted, I said the mainstream media is going to pretend I'm polling last. They're not going to talk about me. They even had me arrested again on Tuesday. Everything they could to try to make it look like I'm not a viable candidate. Then Bet365, one of the biggest betting websites in the world, finally put me into the rankings for the mayor thing. And a couple of days ago, I was plus 5,000, which was basically top 10. And I told a bunch of my friends, you better bet on me, because when there's a week left in this campaign, they're not going to be able to suppress the information anymore. It's going to come out that I've won all the debates. It's going to come out that I have way more support than people realize. And all of a sudden, I'm going to be a front runner in this election, and the mainstream media is not going to be able to hide it. And I said the best indicators of that are the betting websites, because the house always wins. And now guess what? I am second place on the Bet365, just behind Olivia Chow, who is losing ground every day while we are gaining ground every day. We just ran a massive ad campaign where we have 8 humongous billboards going up all over the city. As of tomorrow, we have a massive amount of digital billboards. There you can see the odds.
Number 2 on Bet365.
Yes, sir.
There you are.
I'm ahead of every other candidate. I'm the only one that can surpass Olivia Chow, and I will. And like I said, everything is happening exactly as I predicted. We have a massive media blitz that's going to, we have the ad campaign going on with the billboards, the digital billboards. We got about 2,000 more signs that are going to go out this weekend. And we got about 1 million robocalls with my voice recorded on it that's going to go out to all the constituents. And we believe that we're going to get a historic, record-breaking landslide victory. I'm also proud to announce that today I'm on the cover of the largest ethnic newspaper in Canada, the Jamaican Express. They put me on the cover and an expose inside telling everybody to vote for me. And to make note of this, the last political figure they put on the cover of that newspaper was Rob Ford, 2014, when he won a record-breaking victory. And if that wasn't symbolism enough, today I got a phone call from Renata Ford, Rob Ford's widow. She got my phone number off my lawn sign in Etobicoke, and she called me and said that my campaign is reminding her of her late husband's. She said, I'm tapping into the blue-collar community and the working-class community. She said she loved everything about my platform, and she hopes I win. So I got an endorsement from Renata Ford, Rob Ford's widow, and I was floored to even hear from her. I thought it was incredible. So we have so much stuff going in our favor, and this whole election is going in our direction, as I said it would. And of course, the mainstream media is still completely silent, except when I got arrested and the charges were so ridiculous they had to release me to my own bail. I also was in the debate contest last night, the finals, and of course, I won it. I found out today they declared me the winner, so I just went 4-0 in debates. And debated more candidates than any other mayor. I think I've proven, not just with this campaign, but in the last 3 years, that I'm more than qualified to represent the people, and that my platform is airtight. Nobody can mention anything they don't like about it. And the people that don't like me and say, oh, he's unelectable, he's this, he's that, I challenge them with one thing. Name the thing about my platform you disagree with the most and tell me why. I don't think they'll be able to say anything, and they won't. And today we went to Wonderland, of all places. I hadn't been there for years. And I wanted to just go out in public, because that's what we're supposed to do as public servants, interact with the public. And the response I got at the Wonderland was insane. We had hundreds of people coming up to us. We were getting standing ovations as the roller coaster was coming back in. They were mentioning us on the loudspeaker. We had to take dozens of photos with people. And the best part was, it was people of all ages, all ethnicities, all genders, from all parts of Ontario. And it just went and showed how much unity There really is in this city. When they want you to believe like we're divided, when they want you to believe like nobody cares about this election, we are already breaking records in this election, ladies and gentlemen. Another one of my predictions that has already rung true. This is a by-election. Everyone said we're going to have a low voter turnout. It was estimated 350,000 total votes. I was one of the only people saying that this is going to be a record-setting turnout. We're going to have more votes in a by-election than we got in the actual elections of 2022. People said I was crazy, as usual. But what did we already know? Early voting from the 2022 election, 110,000 votes. Early voting from the 2023 by-election, 130,000 votes. We are already outpacing the vote count from the mayoral election in 2022 when they have to vote for the mayor, deputy mayor, councilors, etc. And we are only voting for the mayor's spot. So there is more awareness and there is more interest in this election than they want you to believe. The only people that don't have interest are people like Olivia Chow. She had a party the other day at her office and they had to shut it down because about 5 of her supporters only were there. But there was about 15 to 20 counter protesters that were there, completely outnumbering her supporters. And this is when she's getting CP24, CTV, CBC, Global, all these news channels promoting her, propping her up like the paper tiger that she is. And she can't even get 10 people there.
I gotta just share this with you very quickly here. I got a robo text yesterday. It says, I'm Mark Sanders running for mayor. All right, it doesn't specifically say Toronto. If Olivia Chow wins, she'll defund the police and hike taxes. Only I can stop her, he says. Reply yes to support me and stop to stop. All right, this is good. All right, so Saunders and Chow, they're going to split the vote. You're not splitting the vote with anyone. It's your votes.
Well, there's a few of my constituents that may vote for someone like Anthony Fury. But people actually reached out to his campaign team today, and his campaign manager expects that I'm going to win and actually supported the idea of me winning because they know that I'm actually will be able to get the things done that I'll say I'll get done. Anthony's a great guy, don't get me wrong, but he does come from the mainstream media world. He is a journalist. He doesn't have the development experience or the experience in dealing with government, and he doesn't have the track record that I have. And he was also pro-vaccine at one point. And, of course, he did get endorsed by the World Economic Forum's John Baird, who's a multiple attendee at Davos, who was also Pierre Poilievre's campaign manager for the Conservative Party leadership. And if that wasn't bad enough, John Baird is also a senior strategic advisor at the Eurasia Group, which is just about as bad as the World Economic Forum, another globalist think tank that wants to control what our so-called sovereign national nations do. So I wouldn't be happy to get an endorsement from someone like Baird. He's trying to shrug it off like it doesn't matter, but it's literally like the equivalent of me getting an endorsement from Bill Gates or Klaus Schwab and trying to play it off as no big deal.
Yeah, of course.
Chris,
Get that in our chat room here on Rumble is asking if you're going to be having a victory parade when you win.
Well, I wouldn't want to waste city resources on stupid things like a parade. We'll leave that for Pride. Sorry.
Hey, Chris, any chance you can bring in a tax on mainstream media properties that lie to the public?
Imagine we actually put in a bylaw that stated mainstream media had to tell the truth. Imagine what would happen. And no government money. Actually, if we made them tell the truth, they might not need government money because then they'd actually stay in business naturally because people would actually watch and want to hear what they have to say. Sure. So, hey, maybe it's actually a good thing. Maybe I'll be able to save them and save us billions of dollars a year by not having to prop them up because nobody wants to watch because all they do is tell lies that the government wants people to hear. But hey,
Bell Media is laying off 1,300 people because they've got 9 radio stations that it's all left-wing, pro-pedophilia, anti-white, anti-Canada crap. That's
well, you have to realize when the government gives these media companies money, where do you think the money is going to? They call it wage subsidies. So they're literally paying the salaries of the workers. So now that the wage subsidies, aka our tax dollars, ran out, Bell Media has no choice but to fire all those workers that they can't pay.
Yes. And, they could pay them. Chris, let me say this. If they put you and me on the same morning show on one of their radio stations, I think within 5 to 6 days, it'd be the #1 show in the country, right?
Probably, if they let us say what we wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, you know that the CRTC would do their best to shut us down, but it would be a great idea for them to consider going to conservative talent now to save their jobs, but they're not going to do it. Nonetheless, when you're the mayor of Toronto, it'll be like the Trump syndrome. There's going to be something for them to talk about every single day, and I know you're ready for it. So
I am ready for it. Every single day there's something, but every single day I counter with something positive and something that's more overwhelming than their negativity. And so, and like they say, the old adage, all publicity is good publicity. For instance, when they arrested me that day, you think that hurt my campaign? Or you think it made people realize that the government's even more corrupt than they thought? Because before, the government arrested me 26 times, claiming that I was violating public health rules, I was a danger spreading COVID and vaccine misinformation. Now they arrested me because I'm talking about all the exact same problems that face the city that everyone else is, and simply offered up my version of the solutions. Yet I still got arrested and treated like a conspiracy theorist and a far right-wing extremist. Makes absolutely no sense unless the government's trying to silence me for one reason, because I tell the truth, and that's what they're afraid of.
Chris, how about scrutineers at the polling stations?
We have 86 scrutineers registered, so we have more than enough for each, and they're voting stations, not polling stations. I call them polling stations too, but they're voting stations. So we got enough scrutineers that will be at each one. Obviously, we anticipate massive voter fraud and all the rest of it, but it's not going to matter because we have a secret weapon. Out of the 1.9 million registered voters, we already have a huge portion of those voters. But the most important aspect is there's about 500,000 to 700,000 people like me, eligible but not registered voters, and they're not taken into account in any poll. They're not taken into account by any study or any of the government actions, and that's enough people right there, and 95% of them support me. If they get out and vote, I wouldn't even need a vote from the 1.9 million registered voters. I got more than enough from the unregistered voters to win. So I anticipate, and I want to say this here, I anticipate that we can get more votes just for myself than there were in the entire last election for all candidates combined. 600,000 votes, no problem.
Yeah,
that's my goal.
You can do it. I mean, look, you remember when I ran for mayor in Mississauga, 2018, I placed second, and I got more votes than every other individual that ran behind me, which, if I got it right, was 13 people. So I outdid them all, and I did so on a budget of $9,500. Your budget is certainly bigger than that. Your name is bigger than mine was at the time, 2,000-fold. And on top of all of that, you managed to get your hands on international press, full national press on everything you've done. And they're more terrified of you than they ever were of me, which means you're doing everything right. So,
and you know what you left out? And it's the most important factor of all that everybody underestimates, because everybody discounts this group because they never vote. So no politician even pays them any mind. The youth. I have the youth, and they don't just like me. They believe in me, and they want me to fight for them. And they know that I'm the only chance they have. So out of all those emotional triggers, they're going to get out there, they're going to vote, and we're going to see a massive influx of young participation and awareness in politics that simply was never there before. Because once these young people vote for me once, and they see the change and the power in their vote, it's going to become addictive, and we're going to see young people more involved in politics than we ever saw before. And this isn't some Gen Zs that got brainwashed into thinking climate change is good and we should have drag queen story hour. These are kids whose parents grew up as homeowners, whose parents grew up with 2 cars in the house, and now they're being told they're not going to own a car, they're not going to own a home, and that scares the shit out of them, and it should. So we have kids that are paying attention for the first time ever. And once those kids vote for me once, they'll be ready to vote for me for the rest of their lives. So what scares the government more than Chris Sky becoming mayor? Chris Sky getting national support and moving well beyond mayor into the federal realm and something big. That's what scares them more than anything. And once we get the youth on board, once we get the youth involved, and once we get the youth a taste of the power that their vote truly has, we can change this world. And that's why they try to arrest me when I try to talk to the youth. That's why they try to tell the youth not to use me as a role model or as an example, because they are terrified that the youth are going to unite like we've been uniting everyone. And that is something they simply have no answer for. Guys, on that note, I'm going to have to let you go because I got to run. But remember, June 26th, regardless of the propaganda they spew out of the TV, vote number 82, Chris Sakocha, and we will win this, and we will set history. Thank you, guys.
Chris Sky, love you, brother. Thanks for being here. The next mayor
Cheers.
on, everybody. Chris Sky. What an amazing guy. We always love the fact that he takes the time to come on this show. He's the only candidate who's got the balls to be here.